That night, as Melanie curled beside me, her breathing slow and steady, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Every whispered "I love you" she had ever spoken now felt poisoned, dripping with deception. The warmth of her body against mine made my skin crawl. How long had she been playing me for a fool? I replayed moments in my head, searching for red flags I had foolishly ignored. The sudden shift in her work schedule, the expensive jewelry she never explained, the way her phone was always face down. Each memory sharpened like a blade against my heart. I needed undeniable proof before making my move. Morning arrived, sunlight pouring through the curtains, illuminating Melanie's peaceful face. She stretched, her fingers brushing against my arm. "You're up early," she murmured, pressing a soft kiss to my shoulder. I forced a chuckle. Couldn't sleep. Too much on my mind. She didn't press for details, instead slipping out of bed and heading for the shower. As water splashed against the tiles, I reached for her phone. Locked. She never used to lock it. I glanced toward the bathroom door, ensuring she was still inside before grabbing my laptop. If she had nothing to hide, I wouldn't find anything. But if she did... With a deep breath, I accessed our shared phone plan. A quick search pulled up her call and text history. One number appeared repeatedly, late at night, during work trips, even on our anniversary. Aaron M. I copied the number and saved it. A deep pit formed in my stomach, but I needed more. Clicking through her past locations, my worst fears solidified. Her business trips didn't match her flight records. Some weekends she had been in a completely different city than she claimed. The evidence was piling up. When she emerged from the bathroom, wrapped in nothing but a towel, she flashed a warm smile. "I'm starving. Let's have breakfast together before work." I nodded, hiding my disgust. At the kitchen table, she sipped her coffee, scrolling through her phone, oblivious to my turmoil. "I have to leave Friday morning," she said casually. "Another big client meeting." I forced my expression to remain neutral. "Where this time?" She barely looked up. "San Francisco. Should be a quick trip." Lies. I knew now that confronting her wouldn't be enough. I wanted her to feel the betrayal. I smiled, pretending to believe her. "Safe travels," I said smoothly. But inside, my storm was only beginning. The moment Melanie left for her so-called business trip, I sprang into action. My hands trembled as I dialed the number I had pulled from our phone records. My heart pounded in my ears as the call rang. A gruff male voice answered. "Yeah?" For a second, rage stole my words. I imagined him lying beside my wife, whispering things meant only for me. I swallowed my fury and disguised my tone. "Hey, is this Aaron?" A pause. Then a cautious reply. "Who's asking?" I kept it vague. "Just need to confirm something about a work trip." Another pause. "You have the wrong number." Click. Coward. I stared at my phone, seething. His nervous tone told me everything I needed to know. Now I needed undeniable, inescapable proof. I called the private investigator I had hired days before. "Follow her," I ordered. "I want everything documented." By evening, my phone buzzed. A message from the investigator. "She's not in San Francisco. She's in Miami." Attached was a photo of Melanie stepping into a black luxury sedan. Aaron was beside her, his hand possessively resting on her lower back. I gripped my phone so hard my knuckles turned white. I knew she was lying, but seeing it hurt in a way I hadn't expected. 15 years. 15 years of trust, devotion, shared dreams, shattered in one moment. My breath came in sharp, controlled bursts. I refused to fall apart. No, I would not break. Instead, I began preparing for my own trip. I landed in Miami the next morning, staying a few miles from the five-star hotel where Melanie and Aaron were indulging in their secret getaway. I dressed casually, blending into the background, watching, waiting. At noon, my investigator sent another text. They're having lunch at an oceanfront restaurant. I arrived just in time to witness my wife throwing her head back in laughter, sipping expensive wine, her hand covering Aaron's in an intimate gesture. Bile rose in my throat. They looked like lovers in a romantic movie, except she was supposed to be mine. I snapped photos, not because I needed them, I had already seen enough, but because she would never be able to deny what I was about to unleash. An idea formed. A cruel, brilliant idea. I approached their table. Melanie's face paled as she saw me. Her wineglass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the table. Aaron turned, confused. "Who's this?" I smiled, the kind of smile that sent shivers down spines. "Oh, Aaron, you don't recognize me?" I leaned in, lowering my voice just enough. "I'm her husband." His face drained of color. Melanie gawked at me, mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. I didn't let her finish. Pulling out my phone, I set it on the table, playing a voice memo. It was her own voice from a recorded phone call she had with Aaron days before. "I don't love him anymore. He's too predictable, too boring. Once I figure out how to leave without losing too much money, I'll be free." Melanie clutched the edge of the table, as if reality was slipping beneath her feet. "I can explain." I cut her off again, my voice icy. "Don't bother. You already did." Then I turned to Aaron. "Hope she's worth it, pal. But if she cheated on me after 15 years, imagine what she'll do to you." I walked away, leaving them with nothing but stunned silence. And I had only just begun. I walked out of that restaurant with my heart hammering in my chest, but my face remained calm. The humiliation in Melanie's eyes, the way Aaron sat frozen, realizing he had just become part of something far bigger than a secret affair. It was only the beginning. I wasn't finished. As I stepped onto the sunlit street, my phone buzzed. It was the private investigator. "Got everything you need?" he asked. I exhaled slowly. Almost. I had already sent the photos, recordings, and proof of Melanie's deception to her boss, family, and friends. But there was one last thing left to do before I burned the final bridge. I returned to my hotel, my mind racing. Melanie's biggest concern wasn't losing me. It was losing the life I had built for us. Our house, the car, the joint investments. She had it good. But she didn't realize that in our prenuptial agreement, adultery meant she walked away with nothing. I had already contacted my lawyer. The divorce papers were being drawn up. Melanie wouldn't just lose me. She would lose everything. That night I waited. Sure enough, at 11 p.m., my phone lit up with her name. Melanie calling. I smirked and let it ring. A minute later, a text appeared. "We need to talk. Please, I can explain." I waited another 5 minutes before responding. "Talk? You didn't talk to me when you were in bed with Aaron. Why start now?" The typing bubbles appeared, then disappeared, then reappeared. Then, "I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. Come back to the hotel. Let's work this out." I stared at the message, shaking my head. This woman wasn't sorry she had cheated. She was sorry she got caught. I didn't reply. Instead, I sent her an email with an attachment, the divorce papers. Subject line, "I already made my decision." The next morning, I checked out of my hotel, grabbed a cab to the airport, and left Miami behind. I didn't need to see her again. I had done what I came to do. Halfway through the flight, my phone vibrated, a message from an unknown number. "You ruined my life." I smirked. "No, Melanie. You did that all on your own." I turned off my phone. When the plane touched down, I walked away from my old life without looking back. Freedom had never felt so damn good. The moment I stepped off that plane, I felt something I hadn't in years. Peace. No more doubts, no more lies, no more second-guessing if the woman sleeping beside me was truly mine. Melanie's betrayal had shattered me, but in its place something stronger was forming. I walked through the terminal with purpose, my mind already set on the future. No more living in the shadow of a woman who saw me as a stepping stone. She had gambled 15 years of marriage for fleeting passion, thinking I'd always be there to clean up the mess. She was wrong. Days passed, then weeks. Melanie tried everything. Calls, texts, even showing up at my workplace once. I didn't see her. I didn't need to. One evening, as I sat on my balcony overlooking the city, a new email from my lawyer arrived. Subject: Divorce finalized. I exhaled slowly, absorbing those words. Finalized. I was no longer Melanie's husband, no longer tethered to her lies, no longer trapped. And then, as if the universe had a sense of humor, my phone lit up with a notification. Melanie posted a status update. Curiosity got the best of me. I clicked. There it was, in black and white. I lost the best thing I ever had. I was blind, selfish, and now I have nothing. Some mistakes can never be undone. The comments were brutal. People she once considered friends now saw her for what she was. Some defended her, but most called out her choices. The pity in their words was almost worse than the insults. She had burned our life to the ground for what? A temporary thrill? A meaningless affair? I closed the app, tossing my phone onto the table. Melanie's regret meant nothing to me now. One evening, I walked into a cafe, just looking for a quiet place to sit and think. That's when I met Sophia. She was nothing like Melanie. She laughed easily, spoke with passion, and had this fire in her eyes that felt real, not forced, not calculated. We talked for hours, and for the first time in a long time, I wasn't thinking about betrayal, revenge, or what I had lost. I was thinking about what came next. Melanie had destroyed our marriage, but in doing so, she had set me free, and I had never felt more alive.